That's why I transferred to NYU for this semester. I would have had to take out $120,000 and that's for 4 semesters. But the classes at NYU were great. But what I did is I went and I talked to everyone there, and I was like,
So today we have a special guest, Jeb. Would you like to introduce yourself to begin off the interview?
all right, so yeah, I'm Jeb. I am a creative soul that has done content creation for a while of all different mediums. Like I was doing some prank stuff. My favorite stuff to make are the fever dream weird long sketches, music, YouTube videos, films. Anything that lets me express myself. I go to Temple right now. As of yesterday, I'm an NYU dropout from Tisch. I went there for 2 days and I dropped out because it's so expensive. So that's something I can add to my list. I'm from Honesdale. I grew up on a farm. That stimulated a lot of ideas from being out there in the country alone.
Before getting into your creative outlets, what are your kind of hobbies that you like to do outside of creating content and film?
I'd say, it's hard to say. I like to skateboard. I'm not super good at skateboarding, but I'm comfortable now to where I can fly around and kind of make people annoyed. So I can fly past them and then they get pissed off. So that's fun. I love nature and I love to hike and I love to fish, like bass fish. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do. Just get out and enjoy nature and take a walk.
Where do you like to hike at?
My favorite place is at my farm. Back where I grew up, probably right there. It's always good. Too much hiking there takes me back to some hellish experiences so it gets creepy out there. But I went to Acadia National Park in March for spring break, and that changed my experience on hiking. That was great.
I love hiking in Acadia because I went there a couple of years ago and it's such gorgeous landscape.
Oh dude, yeah. That place is unbelievable. And up in Canada, above like Old Quebec City is like, I went to this national park. That was really, really cool. Interesting. I like exploring and traveling too. Yeah.
Last thing on kind of like traveling and everything. Where is your favorite place to travel to, or what was your favorite place?
I think the coolest. I went to Berlin. That was really cool. Europe is really interesting. When I went there, I was helping. We were living in a hostel, and my girlfriend at the time wanted. We were walking back to the hostel, and there was this guy trying to bring beer, holding so much beer in his hands. I don't drink or anything, so I was like, oh, I'll help you out, man. I wasn't trying to get like anything from him. And so my girlfriend and I helped take this up to his room. And then he drops like so many of them. And then he goes into his room and comes back. And there are like 2 guys covering their penises with spoons. That's all they had. And I was like, dude, this shit would not fly in the United States. But it was just funny over there. And it was, yeah, that sums up why Berlin's cool. And Europe, it's just like funny. Like, what the hell?
It's crazy the culture differences between like countries, because I feel like exactly what you said, it wouldn't fly here, but it definitely would out there. And it's just crazy, that culture shift.
The food is so much better too.
Ooh.
Yeah, just everything's very non-processed, and it's just more of a weird feel.
Sorry, this is my ADHD.
I have the same syndrome, bro.
Whoa.
Do you know who he is?
No. You think he's okay?
I don't care too much. Like,
should we just leave?
You just leave him there. Yeah, it's cool.
Should we like call someone, or you think he's good?
He's good. I see his breathing patterns are pretty fine.
Yeah, I feel like natural. Damn, I was just thinking about the guys in Germany.
Natural.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I think that actually might be my biological brother coming back.
How is your biological brother?
I thought he died, but I think that's him.
You guys look related.
That's what they all say.
What was kind of some of the horror stories that you can tell from hiking in your farmland?
Actually, me and this guy on the ground, that's where I remember him from.
Oh, okay.
This was kind of near my area, but we were walking up this trail, an Appalachian Trail, to see the sunset, and we went really deep. It was like 45, 50 minutes one way to get to this place, and we went when the sun was about to set. And we got to the top right as the sun was setting. It had already set, though. It's this cool-ass rock, really beautiful. And then it was still kind of like we could see, but then when we went back down into the trees again, It was pitch black, like totally pitch black. And I remember we had seen like people in tents posted up, like singular, really small tents. So we were scared because we knew there were people in there. And humans are fucking scary in the woods, scarier than any creature. And so we were traveling back. We almost lost the trail. And if we lost the trail, we were screwed because our phones were at like 10%. We've been trapped. But then we get back on the trail and we see this tent and this fire, and we talked to this guy, and he was like, "There's a bear down that way in the path." The dog was tweaking out, and we're like, fuck, he's not kidding at all. And it was pitch black, and we had no way of seeing, and he was like, yeah, down by the lines or some shit. So we were like, okay, whatever. We start walking for 5 minutes, not even, and we hear this gigantic creature flying through the woods, like slowly, methodically, just like that. And we were shining our stupid ass iPhone flashlights, and they wouldn't see anything. So we knew it was right in front of us on the trail, and we couldn't go around it. And we were just sitting there, just like making noises and shit. So we started going. It was horrified. We stood there for like 1 minute, so scared, we didn't know what to do. I was trying to like Chat GPT something. Then we finally decided to make weird noises. And then it went away.
Oh wow! How did Chat GPT know for you guys to make that noise?
It didn't tell us.
Oh.
I wish it told us, but it was more inherent. I think that's what you're supposed to do. I think that's what like primally you were meant to do.
Cause I would think like the humans would be the biggest danger, because like Friday the 13th, like with Jason. Yeah. Cause I'm
Dude,
like,
humans are freaky.
we're back. Just to capture. Yeah. You want to say hi to the camera? No. Okay, cool. I think he's good. Yeah. Cool. Perfect. Yeah, I think he's okay. I think the smells of the cement would.
Yeah, he likes the smell of that.
I was going to school at Temple.
Well, to be real, the community is great. Temple is like one of the coolest communities because I think it's one of the most creative schools that you can go to with the most creative people. In that way, it's really cool. The music scene is great, and there's a lot of really good stuff going on. But I think it's a depressing area, and you can get kind of stagnated there quite often. And to be honest, I'm not getting much out of any of the classes, so that's why I transferred to NYU for this semester. I would have had to take out $120,000 and that's for 4 semesters. But the classes at NYU were great. But what I did is I went and I talked to everyone there, and I was like, I ended up doing like a speech and
A little hydration.
that was urine.
Did you get it from the mythical beast in the woods?
I think yeah.
Oh.
The creature bear.
Yeah.
Oh, did I tell you it was a bear? Yeah, it was a bear.
Okay, yeah.
But so yeah, the classes there were great, but I knew I couldn't afford it. So I connected with every soul I could, and I met some really, really cool people that I'm appreciative of there now. And I did like a speech about this film that I'm making. And I was like, I got like 5 people after that to come up to me and talk to me about their projects and their films. I'm doing like a film festival there in Manhattan in October. I made sure these people had an opportunity to like ask me about it and kind of like that.
What's your film?
So it's a psychological horror film set in the 1960s on a farm that involves a farm boy named Will, who's really strange and unconventional and awkward. And he tries to go to work, and he's going to work, and he just gets tormented, his own brain and his peers, workers around him. And it all boils up to a really dramatic climax at the end, yeah.
Is it released to the public?
Not yet, but I'm going to have a premiere, I think at Philomoka.
Okay.
I'm setting that up, where there should be like a live score. He's making the score, and we'll have like a cello, a harpist, a pianist, and I'll be making weird sounds, just like weird vocal sounds. But yeah, so it's premiering in New York on October 24th at Rogue Garms in Manhattan. So that's been taking up, consuming. I'm trying to edit that still and work and setting that up. But it's cool. It's cool.
What does the preparation look like for preparing for a live music playing during the film and sound effects?
Well, okay, so it's not going to be playing over the film.
Okay.
It's going to be a preliminary taste of it, and then it goes right into the film. So it's going to be kind of like we're going to figure out what is a cool, like, we're going to make a song out of the score, It's probably like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then go right into the film. It would be in the same key and the same kind of patterns.
That's kind of another good segue into your content creation and then film development as well. So let's just kind of start off with the creation of World of Jeff. How did that start, and how do you develop your ideas for each?
So I started making videos in high school with my grandma, sophomore year of high school, and I've been making videos for a long time on Snapchat and shit in middle school. I just did it and posted it to my story, and it was just fun. And I was like, oh, I'll try TikTok out because I saw a lot of people doing it, and that turned out to be, after a few videos, like randomly one of them went viral, and in a few months we gained like a few 100,000 followers on TikTok. That was a lot back in 2019. We kind of aided a few trends and like not created but helped, and I was like directing stuff and my grandma was acting, and like I just fell in love with it. It was so cool. And then took a break from that and went to college and started doing my own stuff. It took a little bit to figure out, you know, what I like to do, but figured out like just directing and making and editing and doing everything that came to my mind was just the coolest thing ever. So then I would throw some pranks in, some absurd pranks and videos like that, and people really like them. I really like them. But now I'm at the point where I've been doing that for like 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years of just my own stuff. So I'm more focused on well-polished, produced stuff. Instead of just like consistently pumping, I'm like, okay, I want to make sure I really enjoy this, because it started to get kind of like repetitive, like post for retention and stuff. So I still think of that, but that's why I've been making films more. And like when I made the film, this summer we shot it for 4 days, 12 hours each day, all sleeping in one room, and I loved it. I wasn't on my phone for a single hour almost, I don't think, ever, for that whole time, and it totally was like the best feeling ever. I couldn't even go on social media after that. I was like, I was stupid. So that definitely kind of told me like, oh, this is, I'm supposed to be doing more stuff like this. So now what to expect is like music and music videos, just actual like really good quality stuff, not just like, I'll still do the bullshit stuff, like the really quick Snapchat videos, because I think they're funny.
There's something about being on set on film is amazing, because I'm the same way. When I'm on set, I'm not on my phone.
Yeah.
Because I just like forget about it. Social media, like I forget about, and it's just being in that environment with that many other people, it's hard to replicate.
Totally, yeah. There's nothing like it. Actually being on a real set, that's engaging. Because I've been on a lot of sets that are kind of flat, and not everyone's 100% in it, but this was crazy because we had like 9 people and everyone was so into it, and it shows in the footage for sure.
Which path do you see yourself going the most within film? You were talking about like video editing or film editing. I feel like there's a lot of like creation and story development and directing and stuff. Which realm do you kind of see yourself going into, whether it's directing, film editing, videography, story writing?
For this film, I was the director, partially like 50% producing, makeup, and I'm editing it. So I love to do everything. That's the problem. If I had to do one thing, it would definitely be directing, for sure. Still, I do love editing a lot too, but directing is so cool.
What about directing do you love?
I mean, when I was on set in the final scene, there was this one part of it where it was identical to what I thought up in my head, and even better, it exceeded it, and I was like just sitting there laughing. I was like so happy. So that was probably one of the coolest, because I knew it was going to come across the camera really well. So seeing that, your vision identically down to its T, even if it's like this was a pretty fucking like extreme scene too, and it was just perfect. Like we had this 1800s Victorian wheelchair weird thing, and we had this weird mask, and it was so insane. You have to see it. It was cool.
Yeah. Can't wait to take a watch. I love that genre of film. I've been following your TikTok for a while too, and I feel like you're able to blend your comedy like skits really, really well and like evolve over time. I've noticed between like the mannequin heads, the spike hair, Spider-Man, just like general public goofiness. Which is your favorite character or trend to follow, and how do you kind of develop those characters as a whole?
I think my favorite thing to do is when an original, totally new idea does well and becomes its own thing that people know you for, is probably the most satisfying thing to do. When you know for a fact no one else's video even similar to it on their page is probably the coolest thing. And it's weird as a content creator because you have to, like you said, the looking over mannequins, that shit was funny like in the moment and stuff, but then I kept doing it and I was like, I almost got into some fights like because people were pissed for real, and then I was like, okay, this is not creatively fulfilling me anymore, and it's super easy to do, even though that video like I just see it all the time. Like people send it to me, and it probably has like who knows how many views through all the people that post, like 500 million now or something. Probably throughout the entire like lifetime of it. Yeah, so original ideas doing well. That's probably one of the coolest things ever. I know my dancing, knocking on doors and dancing, I started that account separately. Just as a fun, like, kind of creative outlet for my other stuff. Creative outlet for my other creative outlet. Because the other creative outlet was kind of getting to, like, I have to do this. So I started dancing and then knocking on people's doors. I did that one day and it went viral. And then that is now probably what people know. That's what I get recognized in real life for, which is like weird for the most part. But well, let's bring that up. That was super fun. Like I had a shit ton of fun doing that, but I kept doing it, and then it was getting really successful. And I was doing like sound promos for people, and it's like, oh shit, there's so many views. This is like so transferable. And then I found myself not even having fun with it anymore, and I was just doing it. It just turned into this business, and I was like, this is not chill. So I've not posted on there for a while, even though that was the most viral thing I've ever like been known for. But I'm coming back to it. I mean, that be using my own music. I will have this hat company idea I want to do to wear these hats, because I made this one hat and people were like, where'd you get that from? And I was like, I made it. So I was trying to figure out how people could like see that and be like, oh, I could be like this weird guy dancing.
And this kind of like new go around with it. How are you going to balance business and the content, so like the business doesn't kind of like have a chokehold on the content you make?
I see it as like if what I'm promoting is genuinely I'm really happy with and creatively fulfilled with, it's like its own content. So like my music, I'll be happy to dance to that instead of like if I had used my own song for that trend where I was knocking on doors, I probably would be like, seriously probably have gone pretty far with music. If I had just used one of my songs, if I hadn't made any at that point that I had produced or anything, had done. So I was like, shit, because that would have been cool.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go back into it with that, so it could all encompassingly be like people see my dancing, which is easy to do, and they see like that gets attached to my music, which is more personal and really well like thought out, and not just like thrown onto TikTok. Yeah, making the dancing more thorough and more me, so people can connect to it more.
How did you come up with the dance, or like your dances and everything? Because I feel like now it's really iconic.
I literally have danced like that since I was a kid. I was so fucking awkward as a kid, still am, but especially movement wise. Like I got made fun of it when I played basketball so hard in high school. There was one time I was like started in the varsity team for the first time ever, and then people in the stands would call me a newborn giraffe. It was horrible, man. So they have no clue. I hope one of them have seen my dances and be like, oh, he's actually kind of doing something cool. Or maybe not. Maybe I hope a part of me, actually, I hope everyone who saw me playing basketball thinks I'm like shot, dude, like a hermit somewhere.
They most definitely must have seen your videos, and that's like such a good feeling to have. I bet it'd be like, yo, I'm dancing like this, and I'm like, look at this.
No, yeah, I truly get like, I think more than anything, I never got hardcore bullied or anything, but people would see it like, it would kind of get to me sometimes. People would make fun of my movements and shit. I literally don't care at all anymore. That was kind of a middle school, high school thing.
With your public content, how do you build up the courage to go out, whether it's in like the streets of Philadelphia and or your dance videos in front of like someone's dorm room? Like how do you build the courage to do that?
Dude, I don't know. I think there is a high you get off of it, definitely. So that's kind of like a incentive, I guess, natural. I don't know why. Maybe my brain must be wired by some dude that's making an experiment, because I do get a weird high off of it. Personally, I mean, like, it's not even like, it's more of a high that I'm like, I can just do this. It's like, okay, I can just do this. Like, who cares? There's something about it that's like just doing an unconventional thing that's super public that is really rewarding, and just it lets you drop your human ego, and you don't have to, you just realize it doesn't matter in the end, no matter what you do in public. And it helps me because I overthink really bad, so I've kind of stopped overthinking about the minuscule things and was like, oh, if I can do this, it doesn't matter. But and I've always been doing just public stuff. The one thing I do lean away from now is doing stuff that in public that if someone doesn't know they're being recorded, I try to really avoid that at all costs, and I try not to like make anyone feel uncomfortable or harassed. Of course, I like with the elevator videos, that's gonna make someone feel uncomfortable, but they can just put their head down if they don't want to be a part of the video, you know. But if anyone ever comes out to me after, I always like take down the video, or it's like, oh, what's wrong here? As long as the joke is on me and it's not putting anyone else in a weird exploitative situation, because some people on social media do that where they really film people. I've done that. I've done it before, and it feels like shit afterwards. You don't feel like you did anything that's moving you forward.
What advice would you give to people who would want to do content like yours, where it's like more of in public and like public like interactions?
I would say just really try it out and do it, and then you'll feel more confident. Once you do it once, you'll be like, oh, it's not that bad, and you can do it. I think it makes your mental health improve. If you're a worrier, you just do something that makes you like, oh, this could worry me a lot, and it kind of makes it less bad. Oh, just make sure the public stuff is a joke on yourself and doesn't affect anyone or harm anyone or make someone feel super like negatively uncomfortable, because you can freak people out, and there's a fine line with it.
Yeah. What has been your favorite public experience that you had with someone else?
In a video?
Yeah.
I crawled through the McDonald's drive-thru with someone on my back, and someone called us like really some bad slurs, and were calling us furries in a negative connotation, and it was like, where do you come from? It was this old woman. She's like, where are you freaks coming from anymore? She's just sitting there, and then she gets out of her car and says, fucking furries. Yeah, it's true. Knew it was you, or something like that. And we were literally minding our own business, crawling up. She's like, recording my license plate now. Illegal. And it was not illegal at all. And she was making up this bullshit. And she just kept saying shit. And then she called out the manager. And the manager comes out. She walks up and she's like, go. And then we were crawling backwards, and we didn't get out of character. In reality, the only thing we were doing wrong was you're not supposed to go through the drive-thru as a human being. Like, you're supposed to be in a car. So nothing really was wrong, but they made a very big deal out of it. And it was kind of on the fine line of, like I was talking about, I don't like recording people like that, but they knew they were being filmed. They didn't have to make that scene. They could have, like, I don't know. It was just overboard. But the funny thing was, so they called the cops, and then we left. And then a few days later, I get this, like, thing in this, like, one of my friend's moms gave me this present, and it was from the manager of the McDonald's who had yelled at us. Sorry, I was being extreme, and she gave me a little present that had this little sign that said jackass, and on the back, it was signed by her, and she said, sorry, it was funny, I liked the video, or something like that. It was pretty sweet. So
I feel like that's like the best of both worlds. Of one, the person that was yelling at you are the real menaces of society, and I don't know, that was really sweet of the manager to like send something over.
Yeah, she saw the video and everything. The funny thing was, in the 4th grade, I had dated her daughter.
That's crazy. That's really small world.
Yeah, it's weird.
How did you get into music?
It was this guy, I think. I've always loved music. I've always really liked it. But also the Philly house show scene. I've always known I was kind of like more musically inclined. I used to play piano, but I never tried to write a song. So when I first started, I wasn't the best, but I know I could, like, I had it. Seeing people play and people do things around Philly in the scene was sick. And then Phoenix was like making music, and he offered kind of, I think I asked him or something if he could help me produce it. So that's when I started to like really practice guitar a lot and learn how to write songs. Now I'm at the point where I have an EP coming out pretty soon, but we still have to record a lot of stuff. But it's gonna be awesome, and I've found a lot of peace in making music. I love it now. It's on par, like writing a song and being into the music is one of the best feelings you can feel, and it's on par with like directing film.
What is your songwriting process?
I spit out gibberish, rhyme together extremely vague and disgusting adjectives and nouns, and I connect them in a story. But that's what just naturally comes out. Like it's just like I'd say like what naturally comes from with story writing is like really strong guitar rhythm. The rhythm drives my song most of the time. I like folky stuff, so I like to storytell, and I like to have the story be really visceral and you can really imagine it. Yeah, I find it pretty easy to write a song when I'm in the flow. You can just grab stuff from your brain and throw it in there. Especially when you're going through some like sad times or something, it's pretty, you can get a lot of inspiration. I like Adrian Linker a lot. I've been listening to that stuff. Solo stuff and Big Thief. I like Alex G's songwriting and so Temple native storytelling and guitar playing is awesome in his stuff. The folky nature of it too, and I like FX Twin a lot because I cannot produce a singular thing that would sound like that if I even tried. I don't know. I can't do that shit, but I like Bob Dylan too.
Okay. How about your film influences? Because I feel like those are kind of like your music influences. How about film?
Harmony Korine is sick. He's dope. I still have to watch all of his films, but like he's just so confident in stuff, and it like super visceral and you can just feel the film. His stuff has more feeling than I've felt with a lot of stuff, unique feeling at least, which is important. And he's not afraid to do out of the industry stuff. At Harmony Korine, I like David Lynch a lot. I'm still trying to get through Twin Peaks, but I watched Eraserhead for the first time a while ago, and then I got hooked onto it. I watched like Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive. I still need to watch Elephant Man. I have to dive deeper into his stuff, but I watched his new Netflix thing, the monkey thing. I forget what it's called. I think there's one more inspiration that I'm not thinking of. Oh, fucking Ari Aster.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Ari Aster. He's putting out the best horror films ever, for sure.
I just started to watch horror films again too, and kind of cheesy, but I just finished Tarot, horror film Tarot.
I haven't seen that one yet.
So cheesy. It's kind of just like the typical like start finish or classic start middle finish horror film. But kind of going into your YouTube documentaries, how was recording with Gina?
Like, Gina.
Yeah. As I was looking it up, that was one of the many that I watched and everything.
Oh, cool. You watched that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was funny. That was like I did some Nardwuar activity to track Gina down to get the interview. I went through. I don't even know how I ended up getting it, the interview with her, but her and her sisters are really nice. They were really genuine, and this was at the peak of her like virality, and they're still like super down to earth and shit, so that was awesome. Yeah, it was just a good time, good memory. Yeah.
When you were developing like that documentary, like what was like your process of like, because I feel with documentaries you have to have an element of going with the flow.
Yeah.
But how did you like balance going with the flow and like preparing to document the story? I
wanted to make sure that the interview was not about Chick-fil-A sauce, so I wanted to like kind of humanize someone who is at the center of a meme like that. So I just wanted to make sure that the video is not about the meme. Of course I talked about the meme because like wanted to know what was in it, but I wanted to make sure that the people watching got to know more about who they really were.
I know you are developing like films and everything, but do you see yourself like in the future making more documentaries, and why do you enjoy making them?
The documentaries are really cool because if you have an interesting character or a situation, you can really like tell a story about it. Like the Worst Professor in Philadelphia one is like a pretty interesting character to think about. And then I have one about a haunted lighthouse coming up soon in Maine. That one's just gonna be cool. It's pretty cinematic. I talked to like one of the Ghost Adventure guys on that big TV show in 2000s, and my friend was talking about doing a documentary on the Philly cat distribution system.
How do you come up with ideas to like document?
Usually what's most interesting for me. If I don't find it interesting, I wouldn't ever even think about doing it. So really just interesting topics, unique topics. Those are kind of the two things for me. And other than that, there's not too much to it yet.
What does kind of your production look like for long form content, like your gear that you use and everything? Like what gear do you bring?
Most of the time for YouTube videos, it's kind of like run and gun type thing. Whoever has a camera, I can borrow. Whoever's down to film, as long as they're down to do. Like my friend Kellen and I went to this. He lives in Maine. We went to this crazy haunted lighthouse in the dark during the rain in Acadia National Park. It was like crazy shit. But for YouTube, it's like run and gun. But for films, usually, like the first one I did, Permeable Purgatory, we shot it in 2 days, a few hours each day. I can't even believe how fast we did it. But that was some guy I knew, Talon, from one of my classes, and I knew he was a cinematographer. So we shot that on, I think it was like a Sony something. My friend River, who I met like last year at a show, I think I saw, we were talking about shooting stuff together, because I had liked his pictures a lot, and I knew he had like the eye for it. But yeah, we started hanging out, and then we shot this little thing on this Sony FS5 with these like Soviet lenses. We experimented with this thing called Tape, this character called Tape, walking through Philly, kind of near Kensington and just around. And those test footage, I don't know where it is right now, but then like we clicked off that. We were like, okay, then we got hooked, and we were like, then the cinematographer that was about to shoot Exuvia, the film that I'm editing right now, dropped out, and I was like, yo, River, you want to hop in? And he was so on board. We freaking did the shot list all together, super collaborative. Like we clicked off the dome, and it worked so well. And so it worked out for a reason. And then it turned out amazing. I'm still stunned with the footage. And then for getting everyone else, like a ton of like close friends I knew and people who I knew were talented. And every single person who I worked on the film with was super 100% on board, like I was saying, and super into it, and just knew what they were doing. Through all the actors, all the grips, all the producers, the assistant directors, like every single person that you'll see in the credits is a real homie and super talented at what they do.
Yeah, that's another thing about film that I love is like the people that you work with really like, make or break it. Because you can definitely see that energy rub off on the final product of the film and everything.
Totally.
What's your kind of editing process of the film in particular? How do you kind of go about editing, and what do you kind of like look for?
Since I directed this film, and editing anything, I guess, for social media, I look for what can be done as quick as possible and still make it as funny and developed as possible. And for film, I usually do kind of the same thing, but more artistic. I'll hold out on a character longer to accentuate their emotion, or I'll cut on a loud sound. So for film, more like impact. Like I like the impact of stuff. I like to use cuts to slow cuts and then fast as tension builds. So there's not too much I think about. I just like to make sure that it's aligned with the story. And that my friend gave me a tip to watch it. Justin O'Neill, I think you know him, but he told me who was assistant directing and held Exuvia together on set. He told me to watch it without sound. Also, my sister Sarah is a film editor, and she's given me so many great tips on how to organize the cut. And she's done a lot of horror films. She cut Summoning Sylvia, that film, and so yeah.
Last question to wrap us up. What is the future of Jeb, and what's the future for you looking like?
So, the future for me, so I was making stuff I'm super proud of. A lot more films, a lot more music, live stuff, physical events and in-person stuff, experimental stuff, just fully going for it, and still keep up with social media, just kind of refining my craft and doing all mediums. I think there is a good chance I take a break after the semester and move to New York and just grind stuff out. But if I stay here and go to school after I graduate, if that's what happens, I plan to move to New York with some of the people, my good friends, and really just start to work and do go for it. Like, I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out how to blend all the mediums together. Well, music, musical performance, films, clothing. So just developing my artistry, I guess. Yeah, into just refining it.
What are your social media handles, and plug anything, any future projects? You have your film coming up.
So yeah, I was looking at the camera for this.
Yeah.
World of Jeb on Instagram and TikTok. Jeb Dance on TikTok as well for the dancing stuff. And on YouTube, it's World of Jeb. And and on my Instagram is where I really post all the updates for what I'm doing in real life. And for those events where you can see my more polished stuff. And where you can also look at any of my skits that I've done. I maybe the warning I'll give you is don't follow me. Because you might vomit every single day if you go onto your feed. So, or I'm kidding, you can follow me too if you like to puke. There's probably a word for that.
Some sort of fetish.
Yeah, it's like not a philia, not something philia. It's usually how it goes. What would it be? There's feel is like a FIL is like love, right, in Greek or something.
Yeah, I know there's like necrophilia.
Yeah, they're probably all negative stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, who knows?
But yeah, thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming on.
Of course, dude. Thank you
That was
so
a lot
much.
of fun. Sorry, that went
No,
a
it was
little
great,
bit
bro.
over.
Dude, you're good. You're honestly, dude, the questions are great.